Statement on the situation of human rights defenders and the civic space in Tanzania by the Tanzania Human Rights Defenders during the 63rd ordinary session of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, Banjul, the Gambia. Your Excellency, Madam Chairperson of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, dear Commissioners of the African Commission, diplomat, state delegates, civil society, and invited participants. Honorable Madam Chairperson, for the past 2 years, the government of Tanzania has made commendable strides toward the fight against corruption, mismanagement of natural resources, killing of albino, collection of public revenues, accountability, and engagement with civil society. It is therefore crucial to bring into your attention this progressive development because of it is relevant to the theme of this year's session, which puts emphasis on fighting against corruption and advancing human rights in general. Tanzania under President John Pombe Magufuli has demonstrated consistent effort through various mechanisms to fight corruption. We therefore highly commend these efforts, with emphasis that more strong institutions are vital to make this effort sustainable and well shared. Madam Honorable Chairperson, we are however concerned about the situation of human rights and human rights defenders in general, despite those progressive developments. For instance, in the year 2018, human rights defenders and journalists have continued to work in a hostile environment compared to other years. According to the survey conducted by Tanzania Human Rights Defenders Protection Desk in 2017 and 2018, several incidents of human rights violation were documented, which have increasingly hampered the work of human rights defenders and journalists in the country. The situation is occasioned by the state of impunity, non-respect of the rule of law, coupled with rampant and undemocratic practices, strict enforcement of draconian laws such as Media Services Act of 2016, the Statistics Act of 2015, the Cybercrimes Act of 2015, the Access to Information Act of 2016, Regional Administrative Act, Police Force Auxiliary Service Act, the Online Content Regulation, and many other laws. In application of these laws, for instance, only 2018, THRDC documented at least 29 incidents of violation of HRD's right, which include arrests, malicious prosecution, abductions, attacks, criminalization of honest journalistic practice, and the work of human rights defenders. With the enactment of the online content regulations, at least 8 journalists have been arrested and prosecuted for running online content forums without registering them. 4 newspapers, namely Mwanahalisi, Mawio, Raia Mwema, Tanzania Daima, were banned for the past 24 months. As we are speaking today, Mwananchi journalist Azori Gwanda was abducted in November last year and is still missing, and no report of investigation to reveal those who have abducted him has been released. Cases of regional and district commissioners abusing the powers given to them under the Regional Administrative Act of 1997 are getting out of control. For instance, about 16 cases of human rights defenders were arrested and some prosecuted following the orders of the district commissioners in different parts of the country. Madam Chairperson, we are also concerned about the worsening state of freedom of expression and information in the country. With the enactment of the laws stated above, access to information has been greatly curtailed. Banning of newspapers, penalties for contravention of the laws and regulations which have stringent procedures to comply, abduction of journalists, attacks, arrest, and criminalization of journalism is yet another stumbling block to realization of the right to freedom of expression in the country. Madam Chairperson, we finally bring into your concern about the growing tendency of state of impunity. There has been several incidents of abduction, disappearance. For instance, more than 100 incidents of forced disappearance were reported by the Minister of Home Affairs in Tanzania for the past 2-3 years. And all of them have gone unnoticed. These horrific incidents have been reportedly executed by unknown assailant. For instance, no thorough investigation and reports were issued with regard to the abduction of the journalist Azori Gwanda, Joseph Kanguye, a political leader, Ben Saanane, political activist, journalist Salma Said, Absolu Kibanda, and the activist John Stephen Ulimboka, and now Honorable Tundu Lissu. All these and other incidents have not been manifestly investigated, and all those who involved have not been identified and taken to appropriate law enforcement organs. Madam Chairperson, in light of these above observations, we human rights defenders from Tanzania and the participant of the ongoing 63rd Ordinary Session of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights in Banjul, the Gambia, call upon the African Commission to, among other things, urge the government of Tanzania to address urgent issues affecting the Tanzanian citizen, particularly on the general situation of human rights defenders, civic space, freedom of expression, political right, political assembly and association as follows. Urge the government of Tanzania to ensure the protection of human rights defenders, notably by observing the Declaration of Human Rights Defenders, African Charter on Human and People's Rights, and other human rights treaties to which Tanzania is signatory to. Madam Chairperson, we also call the Commission to urge the government of Tanzania to enact laws which recognize and protect human rights defenders. Call upon the government of Tanzania to take deliberate action to stop incidents of harassment, arrest, attacks, and malicious prosecution of human rights defenders and journalists which may be perpetrated by individual groups, its agents, and private groups. We also call upon the Commission to urge the government of Tanzania to intervene all forms of impunity for violation against innocent people, journalists, and human rights defenders by ensuring that investigations are promptly and impartially conducted, perpetrators are held accountable, and the victims obtain appropriate remedies. And the only to do this is to develop independent commissions that deals with all cases that involve involve some of the state agents, such as police. Urge the government of Tanzania to review and amend all draconian laws, in particular the Media Service Act, Cyber Crimes Act, the Statistics Act, the Police Auxiliary Act, the Online Content Regulation, regional administrative laws that affect the right of people to freely participate in public affairs, express themselves through mainstream media and online platform in Tanzania. We also call upon the Commission to urge the government of Tanzania to acknowledge and continue to work with civil societies and as co-partners in development and not otherwise. Urge the government of Tanzania to speed up the prosecution of HRD cases currently pending in courts. We finally call the Commission to urge other states in Africa to emulate President Magufuli's effort in fighting against corruption and embezzlement. Thank you.